So welcome to part 4 of our NFC Preview. This is SB Sports. I'm Matt Popcorn Knife Mahler.
Ryan Showtime Velasquez.
And today we're going to talk about the NFC West, which is an odd division for me because St. Louis is in this division with 3 West Coast teams. But that's another discussion, I guess. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we begin our talk about the NFC West with that odd team in the NFC West, the St. Louis Rams. Once again,
I'm on the other side on this one.
Once again, no key additions for the St. Louis Rams. Unless I missed something, Ryan. Did I miss something?
Tavon Austin from the, wherever the fuck he came from.
All right. Obviously, he's a great key addition because Ryan remembers where he's from.
West Virginia. There we go.
There we go.
Tavon Austin.
Okay, so Sam Bradford last year, 3,702 yards, 21 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. But no Steven Jackson, no Danny Amendola. They sucked last year, so they said, okay, we'll just get rid of, our leading receiver and one of our great running backs. So where are they going to get offense from, Ryan?
Say again?
Where are they going to get offense from?
I'll come by. Running back Darrell Richardson's going to start running back his second year out of Abilene Christian, and was trying to look for some information on him, and it is non-existent. There was no information I could find on him about his college games. Isaiah Pete is going to split carries with him, and he's, looking to get some yardage out of there. Sam Bradford, he had his career high in passing yards, but he just needs help in losing Danny Amendola and Steven Jackson. Those are 2 targets that are going to be hard to come up with. Tavon Austin, coming off his awesome Wonderlic score of 7, is now going to be the top wide receiving player on the team. But they averaged 18.7 points a game, which is not very good. But you got Jeff Fisher as a coach, which I think he's a pretty good coach, so maybe he can will his team to win.
Yeah. Speaking of Darrell Richardson, he had 475 yards last year and 0 touchdowns. So that's your starting running back. I'm sad for you.
That's good, right?
Yeah. But they do have, I guess, Cortland Finnegan. That's positive, right?
Yeah, if he's going against Andre Johnson, they'll just start throwing bows.
But that's all I guess we have for the Rams. Sorry, Rams. You kind of suck.
Well, no. Rams had a winning record in the division, 4-1-1, which is, pretty good in the division, especially for a division that's got some top-notch teams in it.
Yeah. So maybe they can do that well in the division and hopefully win some games outside the division, but it's a long shot for me.
4 wins was the most by any team in that division. So, watch out, East.
Yeah, watch out for Rams, I guess.
West. West.
All right. Well, up next we're going to be talking about Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. So next we talk about a team out west, the Seattle Supersonics. Seattle Seahawks. Last year they had the 3rd ranked rushing offense, and that's partly due to the fact that they had Marshawn Lynch and then Russell Wilson.
Beast mode.
Yeah. Russell Wilson last year, in his rookie year, had 3,118 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, and he was battling, in my opinion, with RG3 for the Rookie of the Year. Of course, he didn't win it, but they did make the playoffs, and they actually won a playoff game, so winning a playoff game in your rookie year is pretty awesome. So what do you think about the Seahawks this year, Ryan?
Seahawks, I think, are going to be a good team. But, first things first, Percy Harvin, big addition. So now, they've got Percy Harvin, Sidney Rice, and Golden Tate out there. So those are 3 top wide receivers, in my opinion. Always got beast mode, Marshawn Lynch. Russell Wilson going into his second year is going to have a sophomore slump. I'm not sure. It just depends on the play calling. If you hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch, then it'll obviously take the pressure off of Russell Wilson. The big part about the Seattle Seahawks, you almost had to call them the Supersonics now, is they're undefeated at home, and it's not like they played weak teams at home. 4 of the 8 teams they played at home were San Francisco, the New England Patriots, the Green Bay Packers, and the Dallas Cowboys. So those are some tough teams. And a fun little stat, the defense had 159 more assisted tackles at home than away, which means they've got a bunch of guys flying to the ball when they're at home. So they like to impress for the big home crowd.
Yeah, and Seattle's got a really nice home field advantage with their crowd. The noise there is crazy. And they got a new addition on defense, Cliff Avril, who led the Lions in defense or in sacks last year. So their defense is just going to get better. Mm-hmm. And they also added, this is going to be great, quarterback Brady Quinn. So watch
Golden
out for
Boy
the Seahawks.
from Notre Dame.
Yeah, watch out for the Seahawks with Brady Quinn on the bench there. So that's all I have for Seattle. Do you have anything else for Seattle, Ryan?
Just a couple things. They had 4 players with 3+ INTs this year, and Richard Sherman had 8, which is amazing. The defense gave up only 18.3 points a game, which is the best. I think it's a 5. Maybe it's 15.3. I can't read my own chicken scratch. But their schedule this year is pretty tough. They've got San Francisco twice. They play at Houston, at Indy, at Atlanta, at the New York Jets, and they also have New Orleans Saints for a huge Monday Night Football game. So those are some pretty tough games that they're going to have to get by.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch Russell Wilson in his second year. But, yep, next we're going to talk about my own Arizona Cardinals. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, next we're going to talk about my own Arizona Cardinals. Of course, I
live here and no one likes them.
Oh, well, too bad because I like them a lot. In case you didn't know, I'm a Cardinals fan because I liked Larry Fitzgerald in college, and when he got drafted there, I started following the Cardinals, and I've really enjoyed watching them play. Well, some years it's kind of rough being a Cardinals fan, but this year I'm optimistic. They added quarterback Carson Palmer, of course, running back Rashard Mendenhall, and the Honey Badger, the X Factor. So hopefully he doesn't smoke too much weed and actually makes the playoff or makes the playing field. But last year they had a great passing defense. They were 5th ranked passing defense. Of course, the star on their defense is Patrick Peterson, who had 7 interceptions last year, which is 4th in the league. So I'll let you talk a little bit somehow, Roman, about my team here.
Big addition is Coach of the Year Bruce Arians coming from the Indianapolis Colts. I think that's going to be a great addition. Arizona Cardinals had all of us wide open starting the season 4-0, and then they had us going to sleep by finishing 1-11. So, they started off real hot, and then they decided they didn't want to play anymore. The bad part about them last year was they had 4 different quarterbacks start for them, and who I think is going to be a great addition for them, especially when he's got a wide receiver like Larry Fitzgerald. I'm sure he was just chomping at the bit to get on the practice field. Larry Fitzgerald had worst totals since his rookie season, which isn't good. And running back-wise, 4 different rushers with 50-plus touches, no rusher over 360 yards. So that's terrible. Yeah.
I'm hoping Mendenhall can come in and fix that because for the last couple of years I've had to deal with Benny Wells, and that was really depressing. We finally got rid of that terrible running back, and we haven't had the Cardinals haven't had a winning season since 2009. That's the last time they did the playoffs as well. Of course, they made the Super Bowl the year before with Kurt Warner. Unfortunately, I don't think Kurt Warner's coming back as much as I would like him to come back. But like you said, last year they had a strong start, but then Cobb got injured, and it just went downhill from there. So hopefully they can jump back on it, get the team back in order. I think Bruce Arians will be a nice addition, and hopefully they can challenge in a tougher division than it was when they went to the Super Bowl. but
Nope.
you never know. So we're going to finish our NFC talk and our NFC West talk with the runner-up to the title last year, the San Francisco 49ers. To wrap up our talk about the NFC and the NFC West with the San Francisco 49ers, the first question I have is, are they going to be able to keep electricity on in Candlestick Park this year? But just joking. They actually had some good key additions on the offseason. They fell, of course, one blown call away from winning the Super Bowl last year. They added,
Blown call my dick.
Hey, who knows? But they added quarterback Namihami Osamaga, whatever his name is.
Namdi Asamoah.
Yeah, that guy. And,
You idiot.
And wide receiver Anquan Bolden. So he finds himself back in the NFC West. But this is Colin Kaepernick's first full year at the helm. Last year he had 1,800 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions, and he ran for 415 yards and had 5 touchdowns. So do you think he can get rid of his Miami Dolphins hat and lead the team back to the playoffs?
I'm not sure about Colin Kaepernick. I mean, you had some decent stats at the end of the year, but I'm never really a fan of the running quarterback, and I'm not a fan of Colin Kaepernick. I just don't like his style of play. I just don't like him personally. If I saw him on the street, I'd probably hit him in the face. One thing they do have going for it's a good thing they got Anquan Bolden, who, in my opinion, was the best player in the playoffs last year. Forget Joe Flacco. Anquan Bolden made him look good. They lose Michael Crabtree with an Achilles tear. Same thing Kobe Bryant had. And Kobe Bryant's a lot better than Michael Crabtree is. So I don't see Michael Crabtree making it the rest of the season.
Yeah. Frank Gore had a pretty decent year last year in terms of Frank Gore-ness. 12,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. But the big why the 49ers were so good last year is their defense. They had the 4th ranked defense in passing and rushing, and Alvin Smith had 19.5 sacks. So adding that cornerback, Azumsaga, still can't say it, sorry, I think will help the defense a lot. Do you think they're going to have as good as defense this year?
The defense is always strong. They've got Patrick Willis, he's a beast. And then they've just got a strong defensive end core. They only gave up 17.1 points per game. So that means, that just takes a lot of pressure off the offense. If you can do that, then the offense won't have to, put up a whole bunch of points. Frank Gore, like you said, had a great year. But Vernon Davis is a guy that, struggled last year. Only, 548 yards and 5 touchdowns, which is the least that he's had his entire career, or not his career, since 2008. And since Colin Kaepernick came in, his stats just went down. 4-0, 1-0, 1, 2, and 0 fantasy points since Colin Kaepernick started, which means he's not getting the ball. And quite frankly, I think he's the best receiving player on that team.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Bolden fits in the system, and maybe they can find themselves in the Super Bowl again, maybe not. But next we're going to talk about who we think is going to win the NFC West. So we wrap up our talk about the NFC West by giving us our last chance to agree on a division winner. So let's see what happens. Ryan, who you got winning the NFC West?
Well, last year's NFC West came down to a tie. San Francisco and Seattle both beat each other, and Seattle finished 11-5, and San Francisco finished 11-4-1. So that tie saved them. If they would have lost, they would have lost the division, but then they only tied. So there you go. Ties are good in the San Francisco 49ers' mind. Being said, I think San Francisco's defense is just too stout. Seattle's defense, also stout. So it's a hard pick. Russell Wilson, mobile quarterback. Colin Kaepernick, mobile quarterback. Frank Gore, Marshawn Lynch, 2 amazing guys. This division's going to be super hard. I just got San Francisco. I just going out on a whim. There's really no I don't think there's no way you can, decipher between the Seahawks and 49ers. I think it's going to be the best division race this season. The NFC's got a lot of division races. I mean, the AFC, when we looked at it, was pretty clear and cut, except for maybe the AFC North. But for the NFC, you've got Atlanta and the Saints battling. Now you got San Francisco and Seahawks battling, and I'm just going to have to go with San Francisco.
Okay, so we went 4 for 4, disagreeing on the division winners, because I'm going with the Seahawks. Just like you said, Marshawn Lynch, Russell Wilson, the offense, the defense, adding Piercy Harvin, adding Cliff Averill. I think they're just going to come out on top. I think it'll be a close one as well. It's probably going to come down to the last game between Seattle and San Francisco, or one of the last games of the division or the season. So it's going to be a real fun division to watch. And just like you said, the NFC is going to be awesome. There's a lot of good teams in the NFC. So I'm really excited. Doing this preview with you has just made me more excited about football.
Hey, Brandon, is it football season yet?
I hope he gets back to us soon, because I'm curious. But
he's got more. He's going to go. He can't. He's visiting Amos. None of us. So.
But that wraps up our NFC preview. Tune in next time where we talk about our playoff predictions for the NFL. Until next time, I'm Matt Popcornack Mahler.
Ryan Showtime Velasquez.
Make sure you subscribe to all of our social media. Tell your friends about us, and you've been watching S&P Sports.
Stay trashy, hoes.